Welcome to the URBiz Photocast by Zamm. I am Dallas Mitchell, with you every week discussing business photography and the business of photography. Stop thinking like a photographer and start thinking like a business person. Find us online at zamm.ca, that's zamm.ca, on iTunes and other podcast portals, and find us on Stitcher at stitcher.com or click through our site. All right, this week we are discussing trade shows and wedding shows. These can be wedding shows, home shows, flea markets, farmers markets. Could be if you're setting up in a mall. It could be some sort of business event in your local community, or some sort of commercial trade show for commercial photographers, or that commercial photographers can participate in. These are great forms of advertising. They work very well with your other advertising. Usually it takes anywhere between 6 and 10 touches with your business before people will buy, particularly if you're doing something higher priced. So if you're a commercial photographer or a wedding photographer, where you have a higher priced item. These are really good marketing events where you can go in and speak to people face to face. They've seen you other places, and you can actually compel them to have more interaction with your company after the fact. And it's a very good marketing opportunity to get people into your sales funnel and into your sales process. Not only are these great ways to get leads and prospects, these are great ways to network within your industry or in your local area as a local business person. You can be looking for partnerships and points of cooperation, particularly when you're a wedding photographer. You're one of the first the services booked, and your other experienced vendors are going to realize you, like wedding photographers and venues, are really the first services that get booked. These are dates that we sell off, and once we're booked, we're booked. You're a good resource, and it's a good marketing and opportunity, and a very good networking opportunity. And don't discount the networking opportunity part of this. And you have to be prepared, or these can be a horrific waste of time. These are great networking events and great marketing events if you do it right. So let's take a look at a few ways to make sure you're doing it right and make sure you get the most out of your opportunity. First thing you want to do is develop your booth. You want to think about this beforehand and be prepared. And you want to be clearly identifiable in your booth. We used to develop wedding shows, and a lot of vendors, a surprising amount of vendors, weren't clearly identified. Didn't know what they did at first when you came to the booth. Didn't know who they were. It's really confusing for a bride and groom to come to a booth and not know who they're speaking to, why they're there, and what they have to offer, and whether or not they even need the service. Be clearly identifiable. Don't clutter. Make sure you have a nice presentation. Simple can be good, particularly for photographers. Some of our best results came from nothing besides a banner and a slideshow, like a monitor with a slideshow on it, and then just us speaking to people. Often as photographers, we get into showing as much work as we can and as much product and a whole bunch of books and enlargements. You don't need all that. That's what, if the other photographers are doing that, let them. When you carpet bomb people with a lot of information and you don't distinguish yourself, when you're giving them the exact same information they can get from every other photographer, after a while, when they see a bunch of wedding images, once you reach a certain level of proficiency, for most people, they can tell good photographers and bad photographers. And at a certain point, doesn't matter how good you are, they're not seeing a big difference. So unless you're doing something that really stands out, really be looking at quality communication. And talk less about photography and packages, and don't be bringing a price list and a package information. Give general information, but speak to the people about their experience and their wedding, and sell yourself, not your photography. Because after a while, it looks all the same. All the packages are relatively the same. You're selling the same thing, really. And ultimately, your photography isn't what's going to get you the business. It's going to be you. And that's a great thing, because most of your competitors, every other photographer out there, is going to be showing a whole bunch of pictures and a whole bunch of albums and talking about packages and pricing. And it really makes it hard for consumers to make a decision when they can't distinguish between service providers. So distinguish yourself, make good quality contacts. I'd rather get 5 quality contacts than 100 not so good contacts there, where I'm just passing them information and moving them along and not really making that connection. Because out of that 100, I might not get a single callback. 5 quality ones where I had a conversation and I really connected with the people, I might get 2 or 3 callbacks. And that's the effectiveness. You're looking for leads. And this is not a sales process. This is a marketing process. Know what you're doing there. Next thing to consider, know what you want people to do. And you should always know what you want people to do all the way through the process, from your sales and your marketing. Always tell them what you want to do next. You should always be thinking that. And this doesn't stop for trade shows. Know what you want you're there for. Are you there to book a consultation? Are you there to have them sign up for more info where they give you the information and you contact them back? Are you looking to book on the trade show floor? For wedding photographers, we never took bookings at trade shows, because we always vetted people. Not everybody who's willing to cut us a check is a good prospect, isn't going to be a good customer. So this comes down more to your process. So know what you want to do and lead them down that path. If the show has a lead list from the attendees for the vendors, don't do a contest at your booth and create another lead list. You can spend that time doing something a lot more effective and making a better connection with people rather than trying to make a new list. You could, if you have a newsletter, try to get them to sign up for that, because at least you're signing them up for something that you're going to have continued communication with. That's a good connection. If you have some sort of email newsletter, you can sign them up for that. But if you're just running a contest to make another list and you're going to get a list, then you've wasted a lot of time with that person trying to get them signed up for the contest. Next thing, get short run printing for your marketing materials, specifically for the event or the season. So if it's a wedding show, get marketing material either specifically for that show if it's a bigger show, or do wedding show material that's different from your everyday material that you would hand out to people who come in contact with you who are looking for some information from you. Your marketing material isn't going to be selling. That's not what's going to sell you. Bad marketing material can make you look bad, and if you have the same marketing material as everybody else and it's just generic, you're going to get lost in the crowd. So get something specifically for that event, for that season, for what you're promoting there. You could be running a special. I'd be cautious about discounting, but that's a different conversation. But if you're going to be running some sort of wedding show special or trade show special or home show or wherever you're advertising, whatever the event is, get something specifically for that event or that type of event if you're going to do multiples of it. But if you're going to spend a lot of time, energy, and money to come to one of these events, you might as well have good marketing material and spend that little extra money to get something that's going to be more effective. Otherwise, you're spending money on that marketing material anyways, and it's going to be less effective. It's going to make your overall presentation less effective. Don't cheap out on that, and don't overlook it. Normally, it's overlooked. Oh, we have a whole bunch of postcards or business cards or brochures. Get something specifically for that event to sell your product or service, and whatever action you want. If it's a consultation, then be looking for that. Next thing is network with other vendors. I just mentioned it at the top of the show. Really get in there, talk to these other vendors, because they're either within your industry or they're within your community. So if you're at a wedding show, talk with these other vendors. Most photographers have a blog. This is really good content for your blog if you're writing about other vendors. So if you're a wedding photographer, you're writing about other wedding vendors, this is a really good networking opportunity for them. It's really good content for your blog, and it's really good information for when people come to your website. And you should be doing more with your blog than just blogging your photo shoots. Blogging your photo shoots is a bad idea, but that's another show. So this is a really good networking event, networking opportunity, and you can. It's also content for your social media too. You can be sharing stuff. You make good connections there, and have an idea of the different things you want to get out of it from your other vendors, so that you know what to propose to them. And take their information. Just don't go around handing out cards. I see so many people just saying hi. They do their thing. Have your elevator pitch. I hate that term, but have a good introduction, a good story, and give them your information. But don't count on them. A lot of people are bad at networking. Most people that you come into are bad at networking. So take their information, do your follow-up. Even if it's just an email saying, saw you at the show, really good discussion we had, enjoyed it. If you're a wedding photographer, hey, I would love to get more of your marketing material so I can pass out to my leads, because they're usually asking about other services. I like to have business cards and stuff to pass along to other people, and then get to know them a little bit, and then ask them questions about their business. It's a really good networking opportunity, and do those follow-ups effectively. And the last thing is actually do your follow-ups. That's your lead list, and that's the other vendors. Pre-plan this. Know from your lead list how many contacts are you going to just send out, 1, 2, or 3 contacts. How are you going to do it? Have general idea of what you're going to send them. If you're going to be mailing them, make sure everything's printed, ready to go, that you can just start doing the address labels and sending them out. So have a plan for that, and have a plan for what you want them to do once they get that stuff. And also find out from the lead list, are you just getting email addresses, or are you getting actual addresses, phone numbers, and then make a plan on how you're going to contact people. And same with your vendors. The networking with other vendors. Have an idea of how you're going to do follow-ups after the show and what you're going to do, and allot time for it, and get on it right away. As soon as you get that lead list, start doing your follow-ups immediately. Once you get back, start doing your follow-ups with other vendors. Yeah, you might think, next day everybody's so forth and whatnot, they're tired too, so they're not going to do it. No, do it. Get that email out. At least it's there. Once they're ready to receive it, you're on it. When they get an email from you, and they were going to take the day off, and they have that email sitting there, when they get back in and they're ready to deal with it, you look like you're motivated, and you look like you have your stuff together. It makes you look really good. It's just making that follow-up more effective and that networking effective. All right, we're calling that a show. If you enjoyed it, share it on social media or tell a friend. You'll be sharing something that's useful, and it looks so good on you. If you have any questions or something to share about your business, hit us online at zamm.ca. Production music courtesy of incomtech.com. Links to them are in the show notes. And we'll see you on the flip side.